Every death in anime that broke us made us wonder why and literally changed the film dynamics entirely. Let's start with the death that turned an entire generation into emotional wrecks. Jiraiya, the pervy sage, the legendary Sannin, Naruto's godfather and the closest thing he ever had to a real family, died alone in the rain, in enemy territory with six pains standing over him. And the worst part? He went there, knowing he probably wouldn't come back. Jiraiya's impact on Naruto wasn't just training him to be stronger. This man gave Naruto something he desperately needed: belief. When the entire village saw a demon, Jiraiya saw a kid who deserved a chance. He named him after a character in his book. He taught him the Rasengan. He told him stories, bought him popsicles, and treated him like the grandson he never had. Jiraiya was proof that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. His final moments are absolutely gut-wrenching. Beaten, stabbed, throat crushed, sinking into the depths of the ocean. And what does this man do? He uses his last breath of chakra to write a coded message on Fukasaku's back because the mission matters more than his life. His final thoughts weren't about regret. They were about Naruto. He smiled, remembering the kid who called him pervy sage, and thought maybe, just maybe, Naruto was the child of prophecy he'd been searching for his whole life. A tale is only as good as its sequel. Naruto, you'll be a fine sequel. Then he sank into darkness, still smiling, betting everything on his student. When Naruto found out? That bench scene broke us all. Itachi's death rewrote everything we thought we knew about heroes and villains. For years, we hated this man. He massacred his entire clan, traumatized his little brother Sasuke by forcing him to watch their parents die on repeat, and became a rogue ninja hunted by everyone. Then the truth came out, and it shattered us. Itachi's impact was a sacrifice so profound it redefined the word. He was ordered by Konoha's leadership to slaughter the Uchiha clan to prevent a coup that would have started a civil war. He was a teenager forced to choose between his family and his village, and he chose both, by becoming the villain in everyone's story. He killed his clan to save the village, but spared Sasuke because he couldn't kill his baby brother. Then he joined the Akatsuki to spy for Konoha, lived as a criminal, and let the entire world hate him, all to protect a village that would never thank him and a brother who would never understand. His final battle with Sasuke was the end he'd been orchestrating for years. Dying from terminal illness, nearly blind from overusing his Mangekyo Sharingan, Itachi pushed Sasuke to awaken his full potential. And in his last moment, instead of taking Sasuke's eyes like he'd threatened, he simply poked his little brother's forehead, the same gesture of affection he'd done when they were kids, and said, "Forgive me, Sasuke, this is the last time." He died smiling, finally free from the burden of his lies. When the truth was revealed later, we all had to go back and rewatch every Itachi scene through tears, realizing he was the greatest big brother in anime history. Ace's death broke the one rule One Piece fans thought was sacred: main characters don't die. For 500-plus episodes, we watched Luffy survive impossible odds, bounce back from every defeat, and save everyone with the power of friendship and rubber. Then Marineford happened, and Oda reminded us that this was a pirate story, not a fairy tale. Ace's impact on Luffy defined everything about who Luffy is. Ace wasn't just his brother. He was his first crew member, his childhood partner in chaos, the person who made Luffy believe he deserved to exist. Both of them grew up feeling unwanted, questioning if they should have been born. They made a pact as kids. They'd become pirates, sail the seas, and live without regrets. Ace got a head start, became a Whitebeard pirate, and built a legendary reputation while Luffy was still in East Blue. When they reunited at Alabasta, that brief moment of brotherly pride was everything. The Marineford War was supposed to be his rescue. Luffy fought through Impel Down, gathered an army of prisoners, crashed a war between Whitebeard and the Marines, all to save Ace. And he did. They were escaping together. Victory was seconds away. Then Akainu insulted Whitebeard, and Ace, impulsive, loyal, hot-headed Ace, turned back to defend his father figure's honor. Akainu's magma fist went straight through his chest. Ace fell into Luffy's arms, his Vivre card burning away, and used his last breath to thank everyone for loving him, despite being the son of the Pirate King. Thank you for loving me. Luffy's scream is the most heart-wrenching sound in anime history. One Piece was never the same after that. Neither were we. Hugh's death is devastating because he figured it out. He connected all the dots about the conspiracy in Amestris, realized the military was being manipulated from within, and was about to expose everything. Then envy shot him in a phone booth, and the truth died with him, at least temporarily. Hugh's impact was being the heart in a story full of darkness. In a world of alchemy, war trauma, and government conspiracies, Hughes was the guy who just loved his family. He was Ed and Al's pseudo-uncle, Roy Mustang's best friend, and the most aggressively wholesome person in the military. He carried photos of his wife and daughter everywhere, showed them to anyone who'd look, and talked about Alicia's cuteness like it was a military briefing. He was comic relief that made you feel safe, the character you assumed would survive because he was too pure for this cruel story. His funeral destroyed us because of Alicia. This little girl didn't understand why everyone was crying, why her daddy was sleeping in a box, why he wouldn't wake up when she asked him to. Why are they burying Daddy? He has work to do. Mommy, why are they burying him? Her innocence, her confusion, her complete inability to process that her father was gone. It ripped out our hearts. And Roy Mustang standing there, rain mixing with tears, vowing revenge? That's when Fullmetal Alchemist stopped being an adventure and became a tragedy. Hughes deserved to see his daughter grow up. He deserved to show everyone photos of her wedding someday. Instead, he got a bullet and a shallow grave. And we got trust issues with phone booths. Kite's death isn't just sad, it's disturbing. It's the moment Hunter x Hunter stopped being a fun adventure and became a psychological horror story. When Kite encountered Neferpitu, one of the Chimera Ant King's royal guards, the tone shifted instantly. This wasn't going to be a fight, this was going to be a massacre. Kite's impact was subtle but profound. He was Gon's first real connection to his father, Ging. He saved young Gon from a fox bear. He represented everything Gon wanted to become. And he was the reason Gon became a hunter in the first place. Kite was calm, professional, insanely skilled. The kind of mentor who made you believe that with enough training, you could handle anything. And then P2 proved that belief catastrophically wrong. What makes this death horrifying isn't the death itself. It's the aftermath. Kite told Gon and Killua to run, and they did. They left him. And when Gon came back, hoping against hope, he didn't find Kite. He found Kite's body being used as a training puppet, reanimated and mindless, forced to fight endlessly. The guilt and rage this planted in Gon festered throughout the entire arc until it exploded in one of anime's most terrifying transformations. Kite's death didn't just kill a character, it killed Gon's innocence. Nanami's death hit different because he wasn't supposed to be a hero. He was a salaryman. He quit being a jujutsu sorcerer because he saw how meaningless the endless fighting was. He worked in an office, wore suits, calculated overtime pay, and wanted nothing more than a normal life. But he came back because someone had to protect the kids who couldn't protect themselves. Nanami's impact on Yuji was massive. In a world full of eccentric, overpowered sorcerers, Nanami was the responsible adult. He was the guy who told Yuji, "You don't need a grand reason to live," when Yuji was spiraling about the meaning of his existence. He set boundaries, demanded proper compensation, refused to let children fight adult battles alone, and treated his juniors with genuine respect. He was the dad energy that Jujutsu Kaisen desperately needed. And then Shibuya happened. Exhausted, burned over half his body by Jogo, pushed way beyond his limit, Nanami kept fighting. He kept walking. And when he finally stopped, when he saw Mahito standing in front of him, he didn't beg or scream. He thought about the beach vacation he never took, the life he never got to live, and simply said, "I've got it from here to Yuji." Right before Mahito killed him in the most brutal way possible. Yuji watched his mentor explode. No final words, no dramatic send-off, just gone. And we sat there in silence realizing that Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't care about your favorites. Rengoku's death is the moment Demon Slayer announced it wasn't playing games anymore. This man was sunshine personified. loud, enthusiastic, constantly yelling about how delicious everything was, with a smile that could light up the darkest room. He was the embodiment of set your heart ablaze, and we knew him for one arc before he was taken from us. Rengoku's impact was instant and overwhelming. In the Mugen Train arc, he showed Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke what a true Hashira looks like. While they struggled against a single demon, Rengoku effortlessly protected an entire train of passengers while fighting in his sleep. He wasn't just strong, he was inspirational. He told Tanjiro that having a strong spirit could take you anywhere, that being human wasn't a weakness but a strength. He saw potential in these kids when others might have dismissed them. His fight against AnimeZAZA is legendary. Upper Moon 3, one of the strongest demons in existence, showed up specifically because he sensed Rengoku's power and wanted to recruit him. Become a demon, AnimeZAZA offered, and you can fight forever. Rengoku's response? Growing old and dying is the beauty of human beings. He fought until dawn was seconds away, held AnimeZAZA in place with a sword through his own stomach, and still nearly won. When he finally died, he smiled at Tanjiro and told him to set his heart ablaze. The sunrise that should have saved him illuminated his death instead. And Tanjiro's scream echoing across that field? That's the sound of an entire fandom breaking. Erwin's death is unique because he chose it. After years of leading soldiers to their deaths, sacrificing hundreds of lives for the sake of humanity's survival, Erwin finally had a choice. Save himself or save humanity one last time. And in his final moment of clarity, he chose the dream he'd carried since childhood, even though it meant giving up everything. Erwin's impact on the Survey Corps was monumental. He was the brilliant strategist who turned suicide missions into victories, the commander who gave legendary speeches that convinced soldiers to ride to their deaths willingly. Rage, my soldiers! Scream, my soldiers! Fight, my soldiers! His words turned terrified recruits into heroes. But beneath that inspiring exterior was a man consumed by a selfish dream. He wanted to prove his father's theory about humanity beyond the walls, and every soldier he sent to die was a step toward that answer. The Battle of Shiganshina broke him. Leading a suicide charge against the Beast Titan, watching his soldiers get torn apart by boulders, Erwin finally reached his limit. When Levi came with the Titan serum that could save only one person, Erwin or Armin, Erwin was barely conscious, muttering childhood questions like a delirious dreamer. He'd spent his entire adult life sacrificing others for his dream, and now he could finally get his answer. But Levi saw the truth. Erwin was tired. He'd carried the weight of humanity for too long. So Levi made the choice for him, giving the serum to Armin and letting Erwin rest. Erwin died before learning the truth about the basement, the world, or whether his father was right. He died without answers, but he died free from the burden of command. Sometimes the cruelest mercy is letting someone finally stop fighting. Sasha's death broke us because she was the hope. In a series drowning in bleakness, genocide, and moral complexity, Sasha was the simple joy of eating potatoes during military drills, the comic relief who reminded us these were just kids trying to survive. Her death marked the moment Attack on Titan said there's no such thing as plot armor, not even for the characters who make us smile. Sasha's impact was being the humanity in an increasingly inhumane story. She started as the potato girl who ate during training because she was genuinely starving, and grew into a skilled sniper who saved countless lives. She represented the ordinary person caught in extraordinary circumstances. Not a genius strategist, not a Titan shifter, just a village girl with incredible aim and an endless appetite. Her relationship with her family, especially saving that little girl from a Titan, showed us the person worth fighting for in all this chaos. Her death during the raid on Marley was shocking because it was so sudden. After everything, surviving Titans, the female Titan, the Beast Titan, the literal apocalypse, Sasha died from a random gunshot by a vengeful kid who snuck onto their airship. No epic battle, no heroic sacrifice, just a bullet and confusion. Her final word was meat, and somehow that perfectly encapsulated who she was. Thinking about food even in death. When Connie and Jean found out, their reactions destroyed us. These were soldiers who'd watched hundreds die, But losing Sasha, losing the girl who kept them human, shattered something irreplaceable. Attack on Titan killed Hope, and Hope had a name, Sasha Browse. Shinobu's death is terrifying because she planned it. For years, this woman turned herself into poison, literally, just for a chance at revenge. And she smiled the entire time, hiding an ocean of rage behind the gentlest facade in the entire core. Shinobu's impact was deceptively deep. On the surface, she seemed like the sweet, teasing Hashira, who couldn't cut off a demon's head because she lacked the physical strength. But underneath that smile was a woman consumed by hatred ever since Doma, Upper Moon 2, devoured her older sister Kanai right in front of her. Every gentle word, every butterfly-themed kindness was built on a foundation of calculated fury. She trained Kanao. She developed unique poisons. She smiled because her sister told her to, not because she felt it. Her final battle against Doma is haunting because she knew she couldn't win. She was the weakest Hashira physically, fighting against a demon who killed her sister effortlessly. But that was the plan. She let Doma absorb her, a body so saturated with wisteria poison that it was essentially a delivery system. Shinobu died smiling, not because she was at peace, but because she knew her death would weaken Doma enough for the others to finish him. Her last thoughts were of her sister, hoping she'd lived a life Kanai would be proud of. She weaponized her own existence. That's not just a death. That's a statement. Kaori's death is the one that doesn't come from battle or demons or supernatural forces. It comes from the most human tragedy of all, illness. And somehow that makes it hurt even more. The blonde violinist who crashed into Kusei's gray world like a hurricane of color and chaos. This death absolutely destroyed everyone who watched it. Kaori's impact on Kusei was nothing short of resurrection. This boy was dead inside, a piano prodigy who couldn't hear his own music after the trauma of his mother's abuse and death. He saw the world in monochrome, avoided the piano like it was cursed, and existed rather than lived. Then Kaori appeared, playing violin like she was fighting the instrument, ignoring sheet music, demanding he accompany her, and dragging him back into the world of sound whether he wanted it or not. But here's the twist that makes her death devastating. She was dying the entire time. Every performance, every smile, every moment she pushed Kusei to play again, she knew her time was running out. The surgery she underwent in the finale wasn't a surprise twist. It was a Hail Mary she didn't expect to survive. Her final letter to Kusei revealed the truth. She'd loved him since they were children. She'd lied about liking his best friend just to get close to him, and everything she did was to help him play again before she was gone. Would I be able to live inside someone's heart? Would I be able to live in your heart? She did. And every time Kusei plays piano now, she's there. We're not crying, you're crying. This is it. The death scene that transcends anime. The moment that made a genocidal ant king more human than most actual humans in fiction. Meruem and Komugi's final game of Gungi isn't just a death scene. It's a meditation on what it means to be alive. Meruem's impact on the story is extraordinary because he was the villain. The Chimera Ant King was born to devour humanity, and for most of the arc, he did exactly that, killing without remorse, viewing humans as nothing but food. Then he met Komugi, a blind, sickly Gungi world champion who couldn't do anything except play the game. She wasn't strong, she wasn't important. She was exactly the kind of human Meruem should have eaten without thinking. Instead, she became the most important person in his existence. Their relationship evolved through countless games. Meruem couldn't beat her. This weak, fragile human kept defeating the most powerful creature on Earth, and instead of killing her in frustration, he became obsessed with understanding how. Somewhere along the way, obsession became respect, and respect became something neither of them had words for. When Meruem was poisoned by Netero's bomb, he knew he was dying. He knew the poison was contagious. And he chose to spend his final moments with Komugi anyway. The final scene is almost unbearable. Meruem, losing his sight, his memory fading, asks Komugi to play one last game. She agrees, even knowing the poison will kill her too. As they play, Meruem keeps asking, "Komugi, are you still there?" Because he can no longer see her. And she answers, every single time, "I'm here." They don't finish the game. Meruem dies mid-move, resting in Komugi's lap, finally at peace. And Komugi? She smiles, thanks him for everything, and dies moments later, still holding him. A monster learned humanity from a blind girl, and together they created the most beautiful death scene anime has ever produced. If you didn't cry, check your pulse. A Kamega kill is infamous for killing off its characters like it's going out of style, but Tatsumi's death hit hardest because he was the protagonist. The main character, the guy the whole story followed, and they actually killed him. Tatsumi's impact was being the moral center of Night Raid. He started as a naive country boy who came to the capital to make money for his starving village, only to discover the empire was rotten to its core. He watched his childhood friends get tortured and killed on his first night in the city. That moment shattered his innocence and forged him into an assassin. But here's what made Tatsumi special. He never lost his humanity. While other members of Night Raid had long accepted the darkness of their profession, Tatsumi kept asking the hard questions. He mourned enemies. He wanted to save people, not just kill them. He fell in love with mine and actually got to confess before everything went to hell. His death is brutal because he went out as a hero, not an assassin. When the massive imperial weapon Shikutazer threatened to destroy everything, Tatsumi fused completely with his Tegu Incursio, knowing it would kill him, just to have enough power to stop it. He literally held up a collapsing giant mech to save the citizens below, his body breaking apart from the strain. The boy who came to the capital seeking fortune died protecting the people of that same city. And mine? She was pregnant with his child. She had to watch the man she loved die saving everyone except himself. Akame ga Kill promised us death from episode 1, but we still weren't ready for this one. These deaths remind us why anime hits different. It's not just animation, it's storytelling that doesn't pull punches, that makes us fall in love with characters just to rip them away. But maybe that's the point. These deaths matter because these characters mattered. And as long as we remember them, they're never really gone. Drop your most devastating anime death in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.